This episode of The Breakfast Dish is brought to you by Pod Power. With Pod Power, our sponsors are making it possible for us to amplify the voices of Albertans and Alberta podcasters like Mum and I.
Hi, boy.
This episode, Edmonton Community Foundation is helping us give a Pod Power shout out to Glass Bookshop Radio.
Glass Bookshop is where my sister Kimmy Beach has done a number of readings of her books, and she loves them. I'm not just saying that, she said that.
Yeah, Glass Bookshop. Glass Bookshop Radio is the official podcast of Glass Bookshop. Founded by Jason Purcell and Matthew Stepanek, Glass Bookshop is an independent bookseller in Edmonton, Alberta that focuses on Canadian writing with special attention to LGBTQ2S+ and BIPOC writers, and the independent publishers who help to produce their work.
Independent publishers, thank you. I'm just saying, I love them more than you, son.
It's not a competition, mother.
It is.
Tune into Glass Bookshop Radio for interviews with their favorite writers, publishers, and readers. And to listen and read more, you can head to glassbookshopradio.com.
Thanks, Glass Bookshop. Thank you.
Kara, the ad's ending.
Thank you. Thanks, Glass Bookshop. Thanks.
Tell me your dreams over bacon and eggs. We'll share a laugh and a story and even a wish on the breakfast dish. Bop, 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 bop.
Welcome back to the Vimeo Platinum Lounge, the breakfast dish tent at South by Southwest. You just saw the performance of Selena Gomez's Ghost, and Reggie Watts is coming up next. Karen, how's the fest going for you so far?
Awesome. I was just in the merch tent. I bought a Jan Arden t-shirt.
Oh, yeah?
And a Neil Diamond coffee cup.
Okay. You're doing some good pulls here.
It was great. There's a little bit of rain, but I just sat under a picnic table. So everything's great at this festival. What's the name of the festival again? Where are we?
I think I said South by Southwest.
Great. Okay. Yeah, everything's great at this festival.
And I saw you helping out at the chill out tent with all the cool teens who popped psychedelics.
Yeah.
How was that experience?
Well, it was great because they have one of those little sprinkler things. So when it's really hot, you stand there and then it just like mist colds you. And also there's popsicles.
I thought you meant like a fire alarm, like the automatic building things to save people from a fire.
It is kind of
like you suggested that's what they're for. When in buildings, when people get stressed out, you got to just turn on the fire alarm.
Are there really chill out places? Because for me, that would be like kids' timeout section. Some festivals that are known for their drug use do have actual chill out tents. I'm glad that you've heard that. Some festivals that are known for it and that you're not speaking from experience, son of mine.
Yeah, I think I've been to X Fest when I was 18 in Calgary and Austin City Limits Fest with you.
Okay, right.
So yeah, there's not a lot of
chance to get in trouble.
Karen, this is the first time I got to intro the podcast in a while. So now you tell us what the breakfast dish is about. What are we doing?
I'd love to tell you. Once upon a time, I used to go for breakfast with people and put pictures of them on Facebook because the world needed to know them and I needed to know them. And it was called the Breakfast Series. And now we're all online, but there's all sorts of amazing art and dance and music and literature and theater and editing.
Sorry?
That happens online.
Sorry, 1 second. What was that last one?
Editing.
Got it.
And we need to find out about it. Not everybody wants to spend all their life in front of their screen looking up stuff to watch. So instead, they get to put in their headphones and they get to listen to you and me tell them about things that they should be experiencing online art-wise. How's that?
It's good. Hey, listen, it was great.
Anyway, so now it's called the Breakfast Dish.
Dish.
The dish. Yeah, the dish.
Who do we have joining us? Karen.
Well, once upon a time, there was a city named Edmonton. No, I introduced the podcast. You introduced the guests.
Today, from Citadel Theatre in Edmonton, we have joining us Helen Belay and Daryl Cloran. Hello, you two. Hi, Helen. Hi, Daryl.
Hey. Hello.
How's your end of February? How's your close to Groundhog Day? No, wait, that's early February. How's your time?
Good. Hanging out, chilling, enjoying the fact that it's no longer freezing.
And Daryl, how are you?
It's true. Yeah. Cautiously optimistic.
I think somebody was telling, maybe it was you, Griffin, that somebody asked them recently, how are you doing during the pandemic and shutdown or whatever? And their answer was, I lack nothing, which I thought was a good non-committal answer. So I'm going to stick now with cautiously optimistic. Just from now on, that's my answer for everything.
Yeah. I stole this from my friend Richard Chartier, who just went, in the grand scheme of things, I lack nothing, which I think is a great answer.
Yep.
I always say I'm just doing my best nowadays.
I'm cautiously optimistic. Hey, right at the beginning of the pandemic, the Citadel started offering something that made me very happy. And soon the Citadel will be offering something else that makes me very happy, which are the two projects we're talking to these fabulous people about. One is the Stuck in the House series, and the other is Heaven. And so you get to pick, Griffin, what we're going to talk about first.
Let's go chronological. At what point in the pandemic did you go, we got to start doing stuff? Stuck in the house. Here's a few ideas. Like, what was the creation implementation of that like, Daryl?
Yeah, Stuck in the House was almost right away, right? Like, when the pandemic started, and when we got shut down in March, like all of the other theaters, we started to think about how we could keep programming and how we could get some money in the pockets of local artists and how we could keep reaching out to our audiences. So we started Stuck in the House, which was started small. We just started reaching out to artists and inviting them to create small pieces of work, generally from their home, that we would share online, and it took off, and we ended up we did 80 of them, and we raised money along 80. Yeah. So and we raised money. So we took donations as well. Like we partnered with the Edmonton Community Foundation so we could pay the artists for their work. And then we also solicited donations online. And split those between all the artists. So it was a way to get a little bit of money into people's pockets and a way to just spread a lot of joy. Cause the stuff that people created was really fantastic. And I'm seen by thousands and thousands and thousands of people. Like some of the clips were it was incredible how many people from around the world were checking it out.
And it was such a wide range of stuff being done, like a whole bunch of different mediums, a whole bunch of different kinds of artists. The one that sticks in my brain just because it's engraved there after how many times I've watched it is Luke Tellier's retelling of Cats. I think as soon as I brought it up, everyone knew that's what I was talking about, because all the different times he popped into frame with something, it was and I bring that up because everyone can still watch it right on the Citadel's YouTube. Am I right about that?
Yeah, it's all still there. So if you haven't seen it, you should. You should. And you're right that of the 80, one of the more memorable is definitely Luke's, right? Well, and because, right, because we kept it so open, it was incredible to see how people interpreted that sort of artistic impulse, and Luke certainly put some real thought and time into it.
And it's also, I think, a really intimate approach to work, especially seeing artists who live together, like Belinda Cornish and Mark Meir, just seeing how as a family they create and work together and share the same space. That's a really nice kind of backdoor insight into their lives. It's kind of touching. It's very touching.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. And there's in particular, right? It was not only the sort of art that they were sharing, but you got you met their dog, and you get to see inside people's houses, and it was a real I know a lot of our audience really responded to that because, they got to get to know the artists that they've seen so often on our stage. They got to get to know them a little bit more personally.
Generationally, I was a big fan of David Van Bell and Vanessa Sabarin going, hi, we're all glammed up. Come in and watch my entire day. Just watching the homeschooling that... Oh, anyway, that was my favorite.
There was one point in my later teen years where I babysat for David Van Bell and Vanessa Sabarin when we were doing Donald Crowhurst. And it happened once. And here's why I think it happened once, is I was, don't worry, mother, everybody's safe. I saw your face drop. I was fairly fresh in my babysitting career, and I put their child's diaper on backwards, completely incorrect. And so in rehearsal at some point, DVB was like, by the way, her diaper was on backwards. I was like, oh. He went, yeah. And then they never asked me again.
I think that's reflective of whether or not your mother taught you how to put on a diaper on a baby or not.
You didn't. I learned it from a babysitting class. Although, to your credit, you signed me up for, which is great.
Yeah.
I learned how to do CPR there, I think.
That's why you were so messy all your entire babyhood, because I just kept putting your diapers on backwards.
Mother, don't embarrass me in front of Daryl and Helen. Oh, my God. The other thing, breezing past that I'll say is Citadel Theatre has been one of the most active and busy companies in Alberta where I haven't seen any kind of progress in artistic creation slowed at Citadel. Some companies have had to take a hiatus. One of the large things is that Citadel brought on a whole bunch of other team members and in artistic associates, which I believe one of them is Helen Belay. Am I correct about that?
Yes.
Helen, how has that been for you? What was the start like? What's been going on? If you want to talk about the other team members, that's awesome.
It's been really great. Like, it's been an incredible opportunity to see what the inner workings of a house as big as the Citadel is. Like, you know this because we went to school together. So we're like on the same timeline. Anyway, the Citadel, that great orange building, has so, like, as a young artist, like, the inner workings of it were just not inaccessible to me, but unimaginable. Like, not in a bad way, but it's a big beast, right? And so to see that and see how that works and to be part of that has been incredible. And also just the work that we've been doing too in response to, it's been around for a while, but like that push of Black Lives Matter and that this increased interest and a proper and rightful increased interest in how anti-racist practice should be at the center of everything that we should do in all fields. Getting to be part of that has been also deeply inspiring. Because I think that work goes hand in hand with what we do in the theater, which is storytelling, representing the world for what it is and how it can be and arguably should. So, yes.
And coming off the kind of impact of bringing on the new team members, Citadel started the, tell me if I'm getting this name wrong, Horizon stage?
That is correct.
Yay! Okay, great. That's the Horizon stage was a lot of development. Is that also the three main stage shows that you recorded for online viewing and had in person there for a while, or is that just regular Citadel programming?
Like all the work that we've been doing with Helen and our associate artists, creating work sort of through the pandemic has all been Horizon work. So
right.
we did the Horizon Lab in the summer, which was development of short pieces that we commissioned, and then our production of Brimful Basha was part of Horizon and Mary's Wedding and now Heaven.
Okay, I want to hear about Heaven.
And now Heaven. Yeah, that's right. Now we're getting into the meat of the thing. Yes.
It's written by Calgary's own Cheryl Foggo, who's at the height of everything right now.
So Cheryl Foggo, Patricia Darbasey, and Helen Belay. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. What a Triforce.
Yeah, Triforce, that's a good word.
Thanks. It's from Legend of Zelda. It's a video game. Haha. You said they wouldn't help me at all, Mom, but look where I am now.
Yesterday I was looking up the sound effects from the video game Pong.
Sorry, why were you looking up the sound effects from Pong?
On my other podcast, we were discussing, Stephanie Wolf and I, the Pong game with a 9-year-old about what video games were like when we were kids. And I was trying to put the bloop, 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 just to get the idea of...
Underneath what you're talking about, or just the 45 seconds of silence listening to the Pong hit?
Listen, though, how did we get there? Pong, Zelda, Triforce, Helen, Pat, and Cheryl. There we go. Took me a minute. Helen, I have a million questions about it, so you just start talking.
Oh, yeah.
So actually, Helen, you host the podcast for right now, and then we'll jump in.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Hi, everyone, and welcome to my podcast, The Breakfast Dish. Yeah, I mean, finding Heaven to me was the equivalent of like the end of like a sweeping romance where like these two characters have been like at odds with each other and we don't know if they're going to get together. And then all of a sudden, like, let's say it's Pride and Prejudice from 2005. It's dawn. We're on the moor. They see each other. You know it's happening. Like, I quite honestly read the first 5 pages of it and I was like, this is it. This is precisely what I'm looking for. Thank you, Cheryl, for writing this.
It's done. They're on the moor.
I love the analogy. I was thinking Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan and they're on a bridge or something, but no, you took it even more theatrical. It's beautiful.
I love a good period piece. Which Heaven is?
I don't know Heaven at all, the story.
It takes place in Amber Valley, and we have the sharp-witted Charlotte, who shows up and she's ready to be the school teacher. They don't want her. They're like, you're a girl? Whoa, gross, leave. And she's like, no, I'm not leaving.
Whoa.
And we, I mean, that's me paraphrasing it.
I expect to see that dialogue. Oh, gross. Scram.
And then the train leaves and she says, "You're stuck with me." And the other character in the play is not just some disgruntled individual. His name is Ezra. He's a leader in the community. He's this gruff farmer who, like, he's had a lot of loss and he's had to weather a lot. You know, the experience of those who had to emigrate to Amber Valley was not an easy one. It didn't come at a easy human price, you know? And so we see these two individuals get to know each other, and we see Charlotte integrate herself into the community. And that's all I'm going to give you, because I don't want to spoil anything.
Are you allowed to say, I mean, okay, listen, the artistic director is right there. So if you can't, don't tell him I said this. But are you allowed to say who's joining you on stage?
I think so. I think our plan is for Anthony Santiago to join Helen on stage. Anthony, originally from Edmonton, who was back at the Citadel for our production of Sweat back last year, who's fantastic.
Oh, that's great. So it is going to be filmed. We are going to see this online. It was meant to be performed in person, correct?
You're going to get both.
Shut the front door.
No, it's true. It's true. Because that's now what we do. We're like, we do live theater and we're a digital production studio. So yeah, we're gonna film it. We're gonna rehearse it and film it and perform it live. So you can see it live. And if you don't feel comfortable coming to see it live, you can see it online.
Just a second. Have you been talking to Dr. Hinshaw? Do you know something I don't know? When are you doing it that we know for sure that people can come in and watch it live?
We don't know for sure. Our plan is later in the spring when we're allowed to open. Because right now, like, we, as part of the Horizon series, we did Brimful of Asha back in the fall, and we ran that live and filmed it and put that online. And then we were rehearsing Mary's Wedding, and we got that all the way up to dress rehearsal, and we filmed it, but then we got shut down. So it exists online, and as soon as we're allowed to come back, we're going to do the live version of that.
Oh,
run that for a few weeks, and then as soon as that's done, then Heaven will be on live and online.
Mary's Wedding is one of my favorite theater stories ever, Griffin, when I moved from Edmonton to Calgary, and I'd really just finished having a baby and getting my life together, and I started going to see a lot of theater, and I went to see the first production of it at ATP. And I loved it so hard I could have screamed. And I went on and on and on to Bob White about how amazing the direction was, and he didn't direct it.
Who did? Do you know?
Yeah, Gina Wilkinson, rest her soul. It was the simplest thing, but either way, it's such a great play, but it always makes me think I should read the program.
So now I know this is my film nerdiness coming out, because I know in your filmed production of Christmas Carol, you worked with Raoul Bott and Dan Svet, I think. Are you bringing on that same company, or are you working with a couple different film companies?
So yeah, we worked for Christmas Carol because Christmas Carol, we did it like a film. Like we couldn't put it on stage and just run it because of all the health concerns and the songs and all that kind of thing. So we broke it down and did it like a movie and shot it over 8 days. And so we worked with two companies, Alpacalypse and then Raoul's company on that.
I love Alpacalypse.
And so we continue to work with those teams on this future work. That's Heaven and Mary's Wedding, and those are shot like live theater productions. So they're run like a play and just filmed with multiple cameras to get some close-ups and different angles. But they're a much more true to live theater experience.
And Helen, are you in rehearsals for Heaven right now, or does that come soon?
That comes when the great COVID gods allow it.
They're dragging their ass a little bit.
Do you know if and again, this is kind of a question for the whole team, but do you know if your rehearsal process will be altered in any way given the new presentational of both filmed and live? Like, will there be a film rehearsal day and a live rehearsal day? Maybe these are questions I'm insane for asking.
I mean, our hope is that we're capturing the live performance so that it's like true to the live performance. So it wouldn't need additional rehearsal. Right. I mean, certainly for when we did Brimful of Asha, that was the case, that we just got to like the dress rehearsal and filmed that and then filmed another performance and asked them not to change the performance, which was very different than Christmas Carol, which was completely changed.
Right. This is all good news, the part about we're eventually just going to bring them back when we can get all together again. Because my mother, as you may know, lives in Sherwood Park on an acreage. And she still has dial-up out on that acreage. So if she hears about all these things, we tell her about all those things. But the time and data it would take to download and watch something online right now is really sketchy for her. So she's missing theater so much.
We're missing her. We're missing her.
Yay! I am too. I'm going to do a total segue now, like way off the charts. You and Helen went to school together, so you have that in common. As I was looking at the Stuck in the House series, I happened to look at sort of the intro video for the idea of Stuck in the House, where Daryl is speaking to Chantel about this whole idea, and he happened to be doing it sitting at a drum set.
Oh, that's right.
And I just want to say I'm also a drummer.
Oh, wow.
Sorry, you're also a drummer?
Not really. I'm taking drum lessons. I started just before the pandemic taking drum lessons from Trevor Ruger.
What?
Yeah, because of the other Josh Cohen. I was in a show that was like the actors play in the band as well. And I went, I've always wanted to learn drums. I'm going to learn drums. And
Well, you could play the accordion, right? Do you still do that?
I can play the first 8 bars of Sweet Caroline on the accordion. That's it.
That's all you need. Everyone else will handle the rest.
Anyway, but I was just learning drums as everything shut down, and I was very jealous. How long have you been a drummer, Daryl?
Tell me.
Like since high school. Yeah, like I've always played in bands, and yeah, I love it.
What were the names of the bands?
I was in high school. I was in a lot of punk rock bands.
Are you kidding
yeah,
me?
Come on.
it was Oh yeah, there's like great pictures of me with like hair down my back and like full rock. Recently I play more jazz, so it's not nearly as. But I have the drum set up downstairs, and my kids play them, and it's great.
Where are you? I'm so sorry.
Come on, just one name, just one punk bad name, please.
I was in high school. I was in a band named Fence, and I was in a band named Euclid's Angel.
Okay, that's my new favorite band, Fence.
And then a bunch of jazz bands.
And that's the end of the podcast. All I wanted was Daryl Cloran to admit that. We got him, ladies and gentlemen. That's the end. Shut it all down.
Normally, Alex Cowman does our outro music, but Daryl will be taking us out with that Fence favorite.
I'm gonna need an MP3 of Fence for sure.
I got some video. It's like it's pretty hilarious.
Okay, now that I've geeked over drums for a minute, Griffin, you and Helen have something else completely in common, which is you both, I guess the word is get, understand, or don't hate Dungeons and Dragons.
That's true. Helen and I have participated in Dungeons and Dragons many times. And okay, well, here's a fun fact that I still have a lot of shame about. We were finishing up our campaign and we were doing the big fight, and Helen couldn't be there, so Helen gave me permission to play her character, who is a barbarian. And I got Helen's character killed in the last game. I have not stopped thinking about this since it's happened.
Nor I.
So Helen's character died and she wasn't even there. And we did, this is the worst part. Diego Stradle, who was our dungeon master, there was a few characters who died. It was a big scary fight. And there was a chance for people to revive people. And so my character, who was a little gnome engineer guy, we all chose a person to revive. And my character was the only one to mess up the revival. So it's kind of like I killed her character twice. So thanks Karen for bringing it up and putting my dirty laundry out on blast.
And I must mention, little Lady Bloodsworth was a minor. She was a child, Griffin.
And I was the oldest gnome in the world. I was like 800 or something. It's really messed up.
That was your barbarian character's name, Lady Bloodthirst?
No, her name was Cecilia A. Bloodsworth III.
Cecilia A. Bloodsworth III.
Yeah, and Chris Pereira played her butler.
Yeah.
It was like kind of an Artemis Fowl, but just a lot angrier and stronger.
I want Daryl to join in that same campaign and play like some huge barbarian called Fence. I'm never going to let that go now.
A barbarian bard who has a set of drums.
That's right, with carrying around a whole drum set. Oh, you stay right there, Dragon. 1 second. Gotta set this up.
Ba-da-ba, ba-da-ba, ba-da-ba.
You never understood me, Dad.
You know what, Trevor, when he was teaching me drums, one of the things he said to me is, whenever you're listening to your favorite music, listen to the drum track in the back. Listen and see if you can't find what one hand's doing, what the other hand's doing. Like, this is my problem. I cannot do something with this hand that is not the same as this hand. I can rub my belly and touch my head at the same time, pat my head, but I don't know why I can't. It's the same thing with the accordion. My hands just want to be the same.
Well, that's the hardest thing about drums, right? Is that you have to do kind of four different things at once, right? And how to coordinate that.
Yeah.
But there's a moment where it clicks.
Did you teach yourself?
No, I took lessons in high school. Yeah, and it's like super frustrating forever, and then there's a moment where it just kind of clicks, and you get it.
Guess how many times I've practiced on my drum pad since the pandemic started?
5.
No, 0.
0. There's no way. I didn't hear you practice ever. And I didn't know this was a thing.
No, I know. I have not practiced. It's in my office. My drum pad, he gave me this drum pad and some practice sticks. And I was so new at it. I'm like, if I start practicing now without Trevor Ruger, I'm going to be practicing it wrong because I hardly know anything.
Can I ask what practice sticks are? Like what's the difference between practice sticks and real drumsticks?
Practice sticks are the ones that Trevor was willing to lend me because he has his own that are better.
God, it's okay. So expendable sticks is really what they're called.
Yeah, kind of like Helen's D&D character.
No. Oh my God, Karen, how dare you? It's Bloodsworth. Her name will live on forever.
I have a personal question though, Helen.
Are you offended by what I just said?
No, I was trying to insult you.
Your D&D character is expendable. Anyway, thanks for coming on the show.
When you were staying actually at our house when you were doing the Cowgirl Up workshop.
Yeah.
And I think that is when my geeky husband and my geeky son started. Like, did they introduce you to D&D?
No. Our year genuinely did play. I think we started in our final year. Yeah, and we did it on an almost weekly or bi-weekly basis in Diego's apartment.
But Diego doesn't have seating, so we were just all on Diego's cement floor. It was me, Helen, Marguerite, Sarah, and Chris, I think was our group.
Yes.
I can't tell you how blissful those weeks were when you were with us because I didn't have to be the person that was hearing about D&D. There was somebody else who wanted to listen.
Yeah, I think you're also the first person that our dog didn't immediately hate when he
that
was
is true.
Not as well trained.
Oh, I love Max. I hope he's well.
Oh, we didn't tell you.
What?
He's not Max anymore.
Oh my God, I cannot believe you started that like
Pronouns
that.
are the same. He's still he, but we changed his name.
Okay, I thought he was dead.
No.
Yeah, of course. That's exactly what we all thought when Karen started with that tone. Oh, I didn't tell you. Moment of
You
silence.
can cut that part out then.
No, the world needs to know what you did.
We renamed the dog Dwayne. Dog's name is Dwayne.
What inspired that?
Kevin is talking about some huge barbarian who's not very smart character that he was creating for something or other. And he was like,
Oh my God, it all comes back
what's
to
a name or
Dungeons
whatever?
and
And I went, I don't know, Dwayne. And then we both thought that was a funny name for a D&D character. And then we both just sort of stopped and looked at the dog. And then we went, should we? Yeah. And then it was just that. Griffin refuses to call him Dwayne.
I don't. Yeah, I still call him Max. And they try to convince me that Dwayne works, but I could if I said receipt in the right tone, he would look. So it's fine.
I run those tests with my cat, where I've just been like, potato. And her tail will flick. And I'm like, no.
Potato. Daryl, do you have any pets?
I don't, but I have 2 children.
Same.
Yeah, that's almost as good.
You can say any word and they'll come. We've had breakfast in person before, Daryl, and we were talking about how old your kids were. And now I've completely forgotten. So I'm going to guess. I think one of them is 7 and one of them is 5.
One of them is 12 and one of them is 9. So close.
It's not that I'm a bad guesser. It's that breakfast was a longer ago than I think it was.
Well, 7 plus 5 is 12.
Yep, there you go.
Oh, Da Vinci Code.
Well, the reason I remember that is because I think we talked about Theatre Alberta's Arts Trek a lot over that breakfast. And I was like, your kids have to go to this camp. How old are your kids? How old are your kids? And I was just like, when are they going to be 12? When can they come? Anyway,
sliding forms across the dining table. Big briefcase of cash. Let's talk.
Here's their lanyards. Here's their script. Here's their schedule. See you in a couple of years.
So, okay, we're going down tangents and backgrounds for sure. And I saw it for for example, the Mary's wedding dates go to, I believe next year you're able to view it, right?
Yes.
So it's the audiences have a long time, and I imagine it'll be close to the same for Heaven, where you have a large window to watch these plays.
Yeah, like typically with the actor contracts to film, we're able to get the rights to have it for a year online. Some of them are different. Brimful of Asha we had for a shorter window because there was another production happening online in Ontario that wanted some time, but it's coming back now in the spring for another few months. But yeah, generally, like we're trying to build up a bit of a catalog of online work that people can access at any time.
Do you think that incorporating and again, if you can't answer this is kind of a large question. Do you think that incorporating like digital content, like or maybe not even like specifically digitally, but like a digital element to your upcoming programming, is that something, because now that you've been kind of forced to adapt and learn the skill set, is that something you'll continue to incorporate, or you think you'll just go back to the live in-person stuff?
No, I think that's going to be a part of the way we create work now, like moving forward for sure. Like our primary means of engagement with our audience will always be live, but at minimum, I think we'll also film the work that we're doing on our stages so that we can share it, because it's been a great way to not only reach out to audience in Edmonton who aren't willing or able to come to the theater right now, but like to start sharing our work across the country, which has been pretty great. That's
one of the number one things we hear from most people. Lots of people saw this show, but this time when we recorded it, 20,000 more people around the world saw it. So there, that little bit of silver lining.
Yeah, no, I think you're totally right? And like something like Christmas Carol, like that we were able to share it. Suddenly people in the show were able to share it with family members, all over the country. And like that's been really, really exciting. And for us to start to look at like how we create work in new ways, right? Like, shooting a film like Christmas Carol was a brand new thing for our team, right? And that was super exciting to see how we came together to build that. And it's a great skill set for us to have, along with like the secret about my drumming that you've uncovered. One of the other things I used to do a long time ago is I used to be a video editor, and one of the shows I worked on was Canada's Next Top Model.
No way!
Years and years ago. So I love like storytelling through video. I think is so exciting.
Helen's mouth just dropped open. See, I was going to ask you, did you find that a weird thing where you had to sort of move over to being a film director? But no, you had years of experience.
Yeah, I've got some background in it. I mean, I'm certainly predominantly my experience is in theater, but like I have done some films and yeah, but this like Christmas Carol was kind of an interesting hybrid. Like it was not just a film and not just theater. So that was cool to be sort of building a new thing together.
Daryl was almost not on this episode. There was a chance that he might not have been able to join us, and we wouldn't have learned any of this. This is fate. We're bringing the band back together. Karen, get your accordion.
Griffin, get your recorder. Helen, what do you play?
Ukulele.
Yes!
That's right, which you can actually watch on the Citadel Second Home series, which you should check out. No one's asked me to play my recorder anywhere, and that's for the best. I think I knew In the Jungle real good at some point, and I played it with my grandma, and I don't remember it anymore. That was a deep cut for you, Karen. I don't own a recorder. In fact, now I'm ashamed.
I have it. It's in my box of Griffin memories in the basement. Trust me, your recorder still exists. Can we form a band, though? Chain Link, sort of like as an homage to Fence. But
oh, that's great. Yeah,
that's really good.
The four people, different coming together, different instruments. Link, humanity.
Yeah, Link humanity.
All right. I'm going to be a good podcast host right now.
Do it, Karen. No more jokes, only business.
The Stuck in the House series is available on Citadel's YouTube channel. Am I correct about that?
You are correct.
Is there a link to that from your website?
Yes, you can also go to our website.
Also, maybe you talk about it on some of your social media handles.
Yes.
And maybe you know what those are.
Being a good podcast host is being very cautious about your words. Social media handles.
Yes. You can find Citadel on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook. We're just at Citadel Theater.
And how about both of you? Do you have personal social medias you want to plug? Is that your jam? Now's the time. It's Breakfast Dish, baby. Platinum Lounge, Vimeo Tent, South by Southwest. Helen, you first.
I'm on a social media break, so not at the moment.
Nice.
Oh, how's that going?
It's fantastic. It's great. I recommend it.
It's like people used to say, oh yeah, no, I'm on a cabbage cleanse. Everybody be like, I've always wanted to do that. What's it like though? Is it awful?
No. I just found myself doom scrolling. And I couldn't stop. And so I made myself stop. And yeah, now I have to go actively look that stuff up.
I think Doom Scroll is your next D&D character name.
Yes, and she won't die.
That's good because we won't let an idiot take control of her. How about you, Daryl? Do you have an Instagram, MSN, LinkedIn, MySpace? What's the Evernote? Hello, I think.
AOL.
Yes.
Google Plus. No, Google Buzz is what it was called. Anyway.
Yeah, you can find me on most of the things. And usually it's just at Daryl Cloran.
Hey, Karen, what else is going on this week?
Well, here's what's coming up, Griffin, my love, my boy. March 31st to April 4th is the Sound Off Festival. That's part of the Chinook series. It's the 5th annual Sound Off Deaf Theatre Festival. Sound Off is Canada's national festival dedicated to the deaf performing arts. It brings deaf artists from across the country to share their talents and stories and the beauty of American Sign Language. You can go to soundofffestival.com. And also, Theatre Calgary is presenting a new festival in the month of March. It's the Page to Stage New Works Festival, and it's highlighting 3 Southern Alberta-based writers and their scripts that examine LGBTQ2S+ identity. These readings will be March 20th to 21st. Tickets are $10 each or $25 for all 3 shows. They're happening on Zoom. You can go to theatrecalgary.com for more information.
What a good collection of things you brought to the table. What a feast you foist upon us.
Amazing.
The Breakfast Dish is a member of the Alberta Podcast Network, locally grown, community supported. The intro music you just heard is by Alexandra Kalman, and so is the outro music that you're about to hear. All graphic design for The Breakfast Dish has been done by Morgan Ermter. Helen, Daryl, how we usually like to end The Breakfast Dish is Karen will make up a breakfast-themed question that sometimes relates to your things we talked about, but sometimes it's purely chaos and comes out of the netherworld. But she is a professional improviser, so here we go, 3, 2, 1.
Daryl, okay, name a punk band that is breakfast-themed.
This is the most contemplative I've seen Daryl this whole episode. This got really serious. Everyone be quiet.
Scrambled.
Oh, that was really good.
Yeah.
Helen, your next D&D character has a breakfast-themed name. What is it?
Oh, Benedicted House Hollandaise.
Everyone has to stop talking right now. That's the end. That's the end of the podcast. That was so quick. We're out. Press stop. Cue outro music.
Bop, 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 bop.
The podcast you're listening to is a proud member of the Alberta Podcast Network, locally grown, community supported. My name is Kyle, and I'm the host of Putting It Together. From a very early age, I've been obsessed with musical theater, and in particular, I've adored the music of composer Stephen Sondheim. So I decided to create a podcast where I invite on a new guest each week and go through each one of his productions, show by show and song by song. You'll learn about theater history, you'll laugh, maybe cry, but always you'll be swept up in the music. It's called Putting It Together, and it's available anywhere you get podcasts.
This has been The Breakfast Dish.